All right, we are live. What's going on tonight, everybody? We got a couple people in here, it looks like already. So, guys, quick heads up. It's going to be a shorter stream tonight, and I apologize. We did not go live at all last week. It was kind of a crazy week, to be honest with you, and this week's kind of crazy too. My wife was kind of in and out of the hospital, ER. She had a pretty bad intestinal infection, still kind of ongoing and everything. So it was crazy. And actually both nights that we were going to be live last week, I was actually at the ER. So, so it'll be a shorter one tonight just because I have a lot of stuff to catch up on. But Wednesday, I can tell you, Dan and I have something really, really cool planned for you guys on Wednesday. So you definitely don't want to miss out on Wednesday. We have a different format we're going to be testing out, and we're going to have some fun with it. So definitely don't miss out on Wednesday, and we'll announce more in the Facebook groups probably tomorrow about it. So definitely don't miss that when we go on Wednesday. So like I said, it'll be a shorter one tonight. We're just going to talk kind of what's going on in the market. You know, we're going to talk about what's been going on, kind of the market sentiment that's going around right now. A lot of people worried, you know, what's going on in the market and everything. Dan, oh, by the way, Dan won't be on tonight. He's got a lot of stuff he's catching up on as well. So he's not going to be on tonight, but like I said, we'll go here for a little bit and answer any questions that you guys have, and kind of, like I said, talk about a little bit of crypto. So whoever's got questions, guys, go ahead and throw them out there. And, you know, I don't have anything planned for tonight. I honestly didn't have time to really plan a lot of stuff. So if you guys have topics you want me to talk about, we'll talk about them. Throw them in the chat, and we're happy to go over it. So let's see who we got on. Julian, what's going on tonight, Julian? John's in here. You know what? We can always count on John. John, I don't think misses a live stream. This guy, he doesn't miss a thing, man. We're happy to have him. Bart doesn't miss one either. So Bart, actually, I've got a update video coming out, Bart, that I think you'll find really, really interesting. I don't know exactly when we're going to launch it yet, but I've got one coming out that you're going to find really interesting. So that'll be really cool. Jordan, what's going on? There he is. What's up, Dad? Jordan says, what do you think about Jeff Bezos actually going into space? Did he actually go into space? Guys, I got to be honest. I've been kind of out of it for the last week or so. I haven't really checked like the news or anything like that. So let me know if he actually did go into space. I know he owns Blue Origin, which it's kind of why him and Elon compete with one another. Like, it's not just a competition for who's world's richest man. They actually have competing companies. Obviously, Elon has SpaceX, and Bezos has Blue Origin, and that's a lot of the reason why he was stepping back at Amazon and kind of relinquishing CEO duties. Was he wanted to invest more time and effort into Blue Origin. He already invests billions of his own dollars into it to get it going, but you know, it's going to be interesting to see. For that kind of money that he's putting into it, you would think that they'd be further along than they are, because I'm pretty sure they're getting crushed right now by SpaceX and other companies as well. John, what's going on? Happy to have you on here. Jordan says he has a ton of Doge. I'm sure he does. Honestly, like, that's the thing, you know, Doge, as with a lot of them, I mean, there's people that, when you start looking at the wallets, you start looking at the size of the wallets of people that have it. I mean, Doge really, like, I think in our one video we talked about it. Like, a huge percentage of Doge is actually owned by a very small amount of wallets. So it's not like it's spread out or anything like that. I mean, it's definitely a huge percentage of Doge that is owned by a very small amount of wallets, which basically means that there are those that have a massive amount of Doge in their portfolio. And obviously, whales are going to play, and they're going to try to manipulate the price for it and everything. What do you think about Bitcoin? You know, there's people out there saying that it could retest its previous all-time high from last bull run, which was about 20,000. I don't know that I necessarily think that that's going to be the case. I don't know necessarily that I think that it will quite go that low. I think that it is possible that it could. I don't know ultimately that it will. I've kind of been targeting that I think it will go below or between like 25 to 30 has kind of been where I've been thinking it'll go to, and I've been setting some buy orders in that price zone. It's possible. It's possible it could go down to 20. I don't see it going down below that, but a lot of people are saying that it will need to go down to 20 because typically in a market, that's what it will happen is it will retest its previous all-time high from the last bull run. So, if it does, it does. I'm still ultimately bullish on it. I mean, the thing is, and we talked about this, last week or the week prior to it, Bitcoin and crypto in general is there's so much manipulation that goes on in it. And a lot of people, especially if they're newer to it, even sometimes when we've been in it for a while, you start to buy into that FUD a little bit. You start to worry about that type of stuff and everything. But it's, at the end of the day, it's market manipulation. The whales are trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin, as much Ethereum, stuff like that as they possibly can. And, their goal is to drive that price down any way that they can so that they can keep accumulating and keep getting the stacking it as much as they can. Ultimately, I'm still very bullish on Bitcoin. I see it going 6 figures before the end of the year. I really do. Has this been a minor speed bump? Yes. It's a dip, it's a crash, whatever you want to call it. But ultimately, I'm still very bullish on it. And I think moving forward, for me, obviously this bull run's really important and everybody wants to make a lot of money during this bull run. To me, I look at it though that, there's a few of them, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. Some of those are like major long-term holds. Obviously, if you make huge gains on them, you're going to want to sell them and take profit and everything. But looking towards the future at the potential of where they could go in the future gets you pretty excited about the long-term prospects of it. Hash says Donald Trump sank Bitcoin today, seeing a $28,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, it's like I said, it's in my opinion, I really do think that it goes somewhere between 25 to 30K. I don't know that I necessarily subscribe to the thought that it's going to go down to 20, but hey, it could. As always, none of this stuff is professional financial advice. It's definitely one of those things where when enough FUD gets thrown at it, that's the type of stuff that happens. Now, again, it is always kind of funny, not saying that this is what's going on, because who knows what any of these people are thinking, whether it be Elon or Donald Trump or any of them, who knows what they're ultimately thinking. But it's always really funny that it literally all happens at the exact same time. It's never spread out. It's never, somebody's going to talk about it now, and then a month from now, somebody else is going to say something about it. It's all coordinated, guys. It all happens at the same exact time. And oh, by the way, it's always people that are that have a ton of followers, and it's always people that are super rich and have everything to gain by doing that, dropping the price because they have billions of dollars that they can throw into the market and buy a ton more Bitcoin and then ride it all the way up to the top. That's the thing. These guys don't make their billions by being dumb businessmen. They don't make their billions by buying high and selling low on anything. They buy low and sell high on everything. So from their standpoint, hey, if they want to stack up more Bitcoin, that's the easiest way to do it is, drop a bomb like that on it and say something about it, because they know that they've got millions of followers. And, with Donald Trump, hey, like him or hate him, the guy has a very, very specific following of people that listen to everything that he says. So whether you are a big believer in what he does or you hate him, people listen to what he says, and he catches attention like nobody's business. So when he says something, people are ultimately going to listen because they know, hey, this guy knows business. If nothing else, he's made billions of dollars, and then they get scared. They get worried about it. And that's the thing I think is the most important thing with Bitcoin, with crypto, is the educational part of it. I think that's the part that really lacks. And we've talked about it on previous live streams too. The toughest thing even for us on this channel is obviously we want to grow it. We want to grow it as large as we possibly can because we love making the content. It's a lot of fun and we like growing it. We like growing a larger community. The toughest thing to do, the toughest way to do that though, is by posting informational videos. The educational stuff, the informational stuff, like what we're talking about on here right now, doesn't get views. Nobody cares about it. All anybody ever wants to watch is the videos where we talk about, hey, this one's going to the moon, or stay away from this one because it's a bad investment type of thing. That's the only one. Those are the only ones that get the views. So a lot of times for those type of videos, we stick to talking, price predictions and talking about specific projects that people, really love and want us to talk about. And we do more of the educational stuff on the live streams, and we talk about these type of things because ultimately they are really important. It's definitely one of those things where, there needs to be more education in the space because there's so many new people coming in that don't have a sound understanding of not just Bitcoin. I mean, blockchain in general, any type of cryptocurrency. And it's really, really tough when this type of stuff is going on. There's this much FUD going around in the market. People get scared off because of the volatility of it, because of everything that is happening. Hash says, looking at the technical analysis volume. Yeah, volume is definitely taking a hit. No doubt about it. I've mentioned it in probably 3 or 4 videos recently talking about how volume is way down. Again, not uncommon when this type of stuff is happening. A lot of people either panic selling and getting out, or a lot of people pulling out of their projects and just putting it on the side, putting it in Tether, putting it in USDC, whatever it may be, and just kind of waiting. They're waiting to see what's going to happen and everything. It's like I said, it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you, if Bitcoin goes down to 20, I'm going to be most likely buying like everything I can possibly buy on that. Even if it goes, like I said, I've been putting in purchases. I've been putting in orders at anywhere from 25 to 30, basically, because I do ultimately think it's going to land somewhere in there. So I'm just going to try dollar cost average, and then you just ride it up. And I think if nothing else, this, continues to prove what we've been talking about a lot on here, which is, guys, you have to be willing to take profit. I know everybody wants, and we talk about these low cap gems. We talk about these 1000x potential and all this other stuff. And you see these massive percentage gains that some of these projects have had, but you have to be willing to take profit. The best thing you can do, at least in my opinion, is take profit, because you know what? Yeah, you might kick yourself a little bit if you take profit on something that you're up 500% on and it ends up going up 1500%. Yeah, you might kick yourself for a day, but just as fast as it went to 1500%, it could drop down to 0. And if you would have held it the entire time thinking it's going to go up, 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 then you lose out on securing those profits and being able to reinvest them or pull them out of the market if you so choose to. So I think that's probably the most important thing. And this crash, dip, whatever you want to call it, I think that's taught everybody a very valuable lesson, that if you're up really, really well on your positions, it's never a bad time to take profit. No matter how high you think something's going, it's never a bad time to take profit. Something else that I'm looking at doing right now, I'm bullish on a lot of altcoins, and not all the stuff that we talk about on here is stuff that we invest in. We talk about projects that everybody wants us to talk about. Some of them might be some of our favorite projects that we just aren't invested in right now. Doesn't mean that we're not gonna, or we haven't previously. We just may not be invested in them right now. For me, what I'm really looking to do right now is strengthen pretty much like five coins that I'm, probably the most bullish on, or close to the most bullish. For sure, Bitcoin. I want to strengthen position on that as much as possible. Ethereum. You guys know my thoughts on Ethereum. I love Ethereum. I would love to get more Cardano. I love ADA. I think that is one of the most solid investments out there. In terms of overall consistency, ADA may be the most consistent, or right up there with the most consistent projects throughout the entirety of this run so far. And really just in general, I mean, they're just very consistent. I also think as they unveil the Goguen phase of their roadmap, which is their smart contract platform, I believe it's July that's coming out. I think that's going to be huge for them. They're going to see a huge uptick in price. I think it'll be similar to what they experienced when they went on Coinbase and they saw that huge push. So I'm really looking forward to that. VeChain, another one I love, and then Chainlink. Those are kind of the 5. To me, I want to strengthen positions, whether that means putting more money into the market. Obviously, again, never put more than you can afford to lose. For me, it's just, there's a set amount I like to put into the market. And then also, again, being willing to take profits on other projects. Even though the market's down a little bit, I'm still up on positions on projects that I love, but maybe they haven't quite got the job done the way that I want them to, or I think that they will, but I don't like their potential right now as much as I do for, something like Bitcoin or ETH, so maybe that involves taking profits out of something like, who knows, synthetics, for instance. I think ultimately it's underperformed a little bit. I think that it's still incredibly undervalued, but it has underperformed a little bit. Maybe I take a little bit out of that because I'm still up on that by quite a bit and invest some of that into Bitcoin, because I think short term, once it bounces, it's going to bounce hard and it's going to go, it's really going to shoot up very, very quickly. So I can realize those gains on that. And then I made a lot more gains a lot faster, and then take those and do what I want with them, reinvest them into something else. So for me right now, I'm looking to kind of consolidate into like a core 5, still have my other ones, still have, some of my low cap gems that I really like that are kind of speculative, keep all my portfolio very similar, but really any new money that I'm putting in, any money in general that I'm investing into any projects right now for me is going into those top 5, because those are the 5 that I'm most bullish on long-term and short-term. Joe says, what do you think about Polygon? I love it. I love Polygon. I've got Polygon in my portfolio. Not as much as I would like, to be honest with you. I was later to the game on Polygon than I would have liked to have been. I mean, I got in. I got in. I'm up on it. I'm way up on it, but I would love to have gotten in on it at the ground floor. It was one of those things. Crypto is there's so many projects, and you're trying to research as many as you possibly can. And everybody thinks that this project is the next big project, so you're trying to do as much research as you can, and you're trying to make sound investments. And Polygon's just one of those that I love. The project, the fact that it's on Coinbase obviously is always going to help it. The fact that it is all built around scaling Ethereum, again, the use case on it is off the charts. So to me, I love the project. I think that it's a home run project personally. I think it's going to go way higher than it is right now, no matter what anyway. So I think that long term, I think that I'm very bullish on that, and I would like to get more Polygon, like I said. But for me right now, my top 5 are kind of those 5 I just mentioned. Those are the ones that I'm really looking to really add to. Will all altcoins follow Bitcoin if it drops? Typically, yes. I mean, Bitcoin controls the markets. Bitcoin dominance right now, at least last night, was at like 40%. I haven't checked it recently today. But typically Bitcoin is going to kind of everything follows suit with whatever Bitcoin is doing, until something else passes it. Now, I do think Ethereum at some point will pass ETH, or Ethereum will pass Bitcoin. Sorry. And when it does, it could potentially happen where the rest of the market is going to follow whatever Ethereum does. But for right now, the whole market is so predicated around Bitcoin, because 9 times out of 10, if you go out and you were to ask somebody what crypto is, there's a good chance if they don't know what cryptocurrency is or what an altcoin is, there's a very high likelihood they at least know what Bitcoin is because they've at least heard of it, and that's kind of the whole thing right now with crypto is everything's predicated around Bitcoin because that's all any of the news outlets talk about. They don't talk about the other stuff. They talk about Bitcoin because that's what everybody knows. And that's kind of the granddaddy. That's the one that's been there the longest. And Jordan says, if it goes down to 20, I will buy everything. Yeah, you and me both. Hey, buy when others are fearful. And I can tell you, if it drops to 20, there's going to be a lot of fearful people out there. And, hey, is it possible, we've talked about it before. Is it possible that the bull run could be over? Sure, it's possible. I don't think so personally. But that doesn't mean that I'm right. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong for it. I'm still very bullish on it. I think right now it's a lot of coordinated FUD that is continuing to go on. And we talked about it in a previous video, what was going on with the manipulation a couple weeks ago. A lot of it, being basically confirmed that the wallets that were selling off Bitcoin had just recently purchased it like a week to 2 weeks prior to that. And then all of a sudden, any wallets that had a certain amount of Bitcoin, I mean, thousands upon thousands of Bitcoin, purchased well over 100,000 Bitcoin within a day, basically within the exact same day. So everything was all happening at the same time. And, it's all coordinated. I like Trump. Of course, he will defend the dollar. What do you expect? I don't care what Trump or Elon say. I just keep buying Bitcoin as money for all the free nations and people. Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Yeah, he's gonna defend the dollar, and I think it's one of those things that part of it's a generational thing too. I think look at Warren Buffett. He hates crypto because he doesn't understand it, and really, how could he? I mean, he spent his entire life. He's a brilliant investor. I mean, he's an absolute brilliant investor when it comes to stocks and stuff like that. There's no questioning that. But he has no background or no basis of the technology at all that's going into crypto. So from his standpoint, he has a very hard time understanding it. And a lot of times when people don't understand something, they just write it off. Look at Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. I think he's hilarious, by the way. I think he's one of my favorite sharks just because I think he's hilarious on the show. But at first, he was totally against crypto, absolutely totally against crypto. Now he's warmed up to the idea, and he actually has Bitcoin and Ethereum in his portfolio, and he's put a decent amount in there because he saw the potential. He actually studied up on it and realized, like, okay, yeah, this is actually, I mean, this is legit. This isn't just speculative like it was in the past. This is actually really something, so I think a lot of it is a generational thing. I mean, Trump he's in his 70s, so again, it's one of those things where when you've grown up and you've been part of something for so long, and obviously coming from the position that he was just in, everything's predicated on the dollar, so he's going to defend that as much as he possibly can. So I think ultimately Bitcoin is the future. I've said it many times. I think blockchain technology in general in Bitcoin is going to be the future currency, regardless. They keep trying to knock it out. Everybody keeps trying to FUD it out of the market and away for good, and they just never can. Bitcoin always continues to just keep recovering. Bitcoin always continues to come back, no matter what they throw at it. Peter says, don't ignore Polkadot. Yes, Polkadot would be on that list of ones for me that I want to strengthen. I'm a little more bullish on Ethereum and Cardano personally, but I love Polkadot. I've got it in my portfolio. I've got a pretty significant position of my portfolio in Polkadot. I love Dot. As they continue to keep rolling out more and more stuff, it's only going to get better. And yes, I'm very bullish on Dot. I have no fear right now. I love the coins that I own, or I love the coins that I own and would love to add to my positions. Absolutely. And I think that's the best way to look at it right now. For me, it's all about, hey, we're getting a second chance, at least in my opinion. We're getting a second chance at being able to go in and get your favorite altcoins at incredibly low prices that we never thought. Well, we thought maybe we would see them after the bull run was over. We never thought we would see them mid bull run, and you have a chance to go back in and be able to buy more of them. So I think that part of it is really cool personally, so I want to take advantage of it. I wish I had more money to put into it. I don't, we all, I wish that, I was able to put more into it, and because you just kind of know a few months from now, you're going to be so happy with yourself that you decided to do that. Jordan says Ethereum is what I invested in first, ironically, because of a movie 2 years ago. No, that's awesome. And I think, ETH, I think overall will pass Bitcoin. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I really do believe that ETH will pass Bitcoin. And ultimately ETH will become a household name. I really think that it will. I think it's something where people aren't going to just know Bitcoin. They're going to know what Ethereum is. A lot of these in general are going to. Cardano, I think, will be right up there. Polkadot will be up there. I mean, these are all projects, all companies that people are going to know what they are, what they do in the near future. I think as this continues to catch on, more and more people get into the market, that will end up being a thing, and I think, like I said, I think for us to go back bullish, the big thing is Bitcoin has to stabilize. Okay. It's showing that it's still incredibly resistant against these attacks, against all this FUD that comes into the market. And I think that Bitcoin has to stabilize. It has to, kind of carve out a little space where, it stays pretty steady at, whatever the number is, 35,000, let's say. It's got to stay steady there, in that $35,000 range, that channel, for a couple of weeks. I mean, really, really stabilized, put confidence back in the market. I think once confidence is strong in the market and there's enough people that look at it and say, okay, it's holding strong, it's withheld any attack that's come after it, at that point it's go time. Okay, at that point we're off to the races, because why would you not want to buy it at that point? It's withstood anything that could be thrown at it possibly, and it's still going, and it's still going strong. At that point, the market sentiment completely changes and it starts to go bullish, I think. And once it does go bullish, I think it's going to go parabolic very quickly. As it does, that's when FOMO starts to set in. That's when everybody and their brother, doesn't matter if they've been in crypto before or not, everybody starts to look at it and they want some kind of exposure to that. It very much reminds me of 4 years ago. I mean, towards the end, you would hear stories about people taking out second mortgages to buy Bitcoin when it was at 20K. And you felt terrible for those people because they lost a ton. Well, actually, I should say you only lose if you sell, depending on what they ended up doing. But long story short, people start FOMOing into the market and do crazy things because they see this parabolic rise that is going on with this, and they want some sort of exposure to that. They want to try to be able to create life-changing wealth very, very quickly. So from my standpoint, I think we're getting a great chance to buy it low again and ride it all the way up and easily, in my opinion, into the six-figure category. Is it good to invest in Theta or ADA? I love both of them, Theta or ADA. I love both of them. Two totally different types of projects. The safer one, in my opinion, is ADA. I think that's the right up there with Bitcoin and ETH is probably the number 3 safest pick, at least in my opinion. But I love Theta. I think, it's got one of the best use cases. It certainly has one of the best teams and advisory boards that there is. So I love both those projects. Will says hello. What's going on, Will? ETH is still pretty strong. My biggest holding. Yeah, ETH. You know what? ETH. It's still my biggest holding too. I love ETH, and it's held pretty strong throughout this. Obviously, it's down from where it was at, and we all knew that out of any of them, ETH probably had the furthest to go, just because of that very, very rapid rise that I saw right before all this happened. However, it's overall held pretty good. It hasn't been getting all the same attacks that Bitcoin has. So it's understandable that Bitcoin is dropping further. But ETH, like I said, is held fairly strong, and we'll continue to monitor it to see if it hangs in there. But I'm very bullish on ETH. I think obviously the use case is off the charts. When they transition to the 2.0, I think that's going to be huge. A lot of good stuff, I think, coming for ETH, and as this market turns back around and goes the right way. I think ETH, like I said, I mean, you guys know I'm very bullish. I think over 20K for ETH. I thought the news of El Salvador officially using Bitcoin would boost the price higher, but it seems not. I think part of it very much so has to do with some of the FUD going with Trump and everything that's going on with that, just kind of trumping the good news of this right here. I think overall it's very bullish news for Bitcoin. As is actually we didn't cover this a lot. But Google's involvement with crypto, allowing cryptocurrency advertising and stuff like that, we're going to cover that in future videos, and we'll have some content about that. But, a lot of that stuff gets lost in the shuffle because here's the thing. The media loves negativity. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but the media kind of preys on negativity. So they're going to take any of these stories of people talking negative about Bitcoin, and they're going to run with it because they know for some reason we all love to, we love drama and we love to read stories and watch news about, about negative stuff compared to, if it was one of those things where, if it was a good story like this right here, that should be super bullish for Bitcoin, and it doesn't get a lot of press because for some reason people don't care. For me, I think it's great. I care because I think that's extremely bullish for crypto in the long run. But short term, all the news outlets care about is going after the bad news. Bart says, gotta run. Thanks. I will be praying for your wife. Appreciate it, Bart. Thank you. And actually, guys, with that, I'm going to take off too, because I got a lot of stuff to catch up on tonight. For anybody that missed it at the beginning, guys, apologize. We were not live at all last week. We were still putting out videos pretty much daily. Had a lot going on. My wife was kind of in and out of the ER, and we do have some more doctor's appointments later this week and everything for it. But we wanted to make sure we went live tonight, just give you guys, a quick live stream tonight. I got a lot I'm going to be catching up on tonight. And then Wednesday, make sure that you guys are on, because Dan and I have something really kind of cool. I think it's pretty special plan on Wednesday. So make sure that you guys are on. We're going to have a lot of fun. We'll be doing some giveaways, and I got a lot of cool stuff coming your guys' way. So definitely make sure that you guys are on Wednesday night. And with that being said, guys, have a great rest of your night.